Hey guys, it's me, Kezia Noble, leading female dating and attraction expert for men. And today I'm going to show you how to make more impact with your conversations that you have with women. I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you can improve your interactions with women, make them more impactful, stand out, and increase your chances of attracting her. Okay, the first one, make your conversations more evocative. You can do this by replacing bland terminology and descriptions such as nice, cool, it was okay, with more emotive words and terms that provoke or anchor particular emotions and thoughts. You can also make your storytelling style more evocative by adding more emotions, by adding more descriptions, more detail. So for example, let's say you went to Vegas and the girl asks you how it was, rather than saying, yeah, it was cool, I had a nice time, I sat by the pool and I got a suntan. Replace that with something which is more emotive, which is going to strike a chord with her a little bit more, such as, Vegas was extreme. It's like Disneyland for adults. I was just like a carefree adolescent all over again. So you see, it's already more dynamic, it's already more interesting. The person gets a feel. They get a feel for what you experienced when you were on holiday, rather than, just going through your daily timetable. She's going to be far more interested to know more. And it conveys your personality a lot more when you're more evocative with your conversations. So remember, you can't get your passions across with a perfunctory form of communication, and you can't get it across so well with vanilla terminology. So the key is to be more evocative by adding more description, adding more detail, and much more emotive terminology. Second one, stop searching for commonalities, okay? Searching for commonalities will restrict you. It will restrict the conversation flow, and that means there's less opportunity for multiple conversational threads. Now, allow me to elucidate on this just a little bit further. When people are just trying to ascertain whether the other person has the same commonalities as them, the same hobbies, the same interests, they believe that by doing that, they're making a connection. Having a commonality is not the same as making a connection. There's lots of people that I have many things in common with, but we're not necessarily attracted to them. In fact, those people are usually they just usually end up as friends. I don't want to say friend zone, but people that we have things in common with, we usually just have amongst our circle of friends. Our lovers, the people that we're attracted to, don't necessarily have the same interests as us. They might have 1 or 2, and we might find that on later in the relationship, which is a nice surprise, but we weren't initially attracted to those people because, we both like dogs, or we both shared the same pizza toppings, or, we both like traveling to Spain for our holidays. So you want to stop trying to look for things in common and work on a connection. So for instance, if she says to you that she likes something, or she has a particular hobby that you don't have much interest in, ask her questions about it. Challenge her even. Get her to share her point of view. Get her passionate. Get her wanting to explain to you why she loves this particular hobby, or she's made this particular choice, or she had this particular point of view. And she'll start to become more passionate about that. And then what you've done is you've phase shifted. You've created a much more dynamic, evocative, there's that word again, a much more emotional interaction. It's a new phase. And she's going to in turn be much more interested to find out what you have to say, and she's going to want to hear your passions too, because you've set the tone. You've changed it from, a pleasant chit chat, polite detachment, as I call it, experience, and you've made it into something a lot more passionate, a lot more colorful, and maybe even heated. I mean, don't be worried about challenges and disputes. Don't be frightened of that, because women do not select a guy because she's got things in common and she shares every point of view that he has, and she also doesn't decide not to be attracted to a guy because he challenged her or he had an opposing point of view. It doesn't work like that. What you need to be focusing on in the early stages of the interaction is making impact, is making a strong connection. And that is going to result in building attraction far more than just sharing common interests with one another. Okay, third point, if you are going to give her a compliment, then make sure it stands out. You don't want to be giving her a wave of vague, very wishy-washy, I should say, fuzzy kind of compliments. You know, you look nice, your hair's nice, you have nice eyes, you've got a beautiful smile, because these can apply to anyone. Now, I have done a separate video about this, which is how to compliment a girl and turn it sexual. You do want to check that out. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what I mean. You need to give her something that feels more custom made, a bespoke, tailor-made compliment. Example, this was about a couple of years ago. A guy who I met in a bar, we were talking, and he said to me, "You remind me of a French 1970s pop star." So I was like, "Well, which one?" And he said, no, just in general, you remind me, you've got that look. It's really quite alluring. And this really struck a chord with me. I thought that was very interesting. Obviously, I get home, I Google, 1970s French pop star, and I looked at it and I get it. It's that kind of very petulant, sort of sultry look. And it definitely made his compliment stand out from the other compliments I'd received that night. And it made him more attractive as a result. A few nights ago, my friend, we went out to a bar in London, and a guy was talking to her, and he said to her, "You've got the elegance of a ballerina, but you've got the body of a pole dancer." And she laughed. I mean, she didn't laugh like, like she was trying to embarrass him or anything. She laughed because it really, it was interesting, and it was something she could latch onto. It was very specific. It was cheeky. It was definitely cheeky, and that's good, and that's for another video for another time, being cocky, playful and cheeky. But you definitely want to include those in some of the compliments that you give to a woman. So anything that feels very tailor-made and custom-made for the girl, and it feels like there's nobody else that you could possibly give that compliment to, that's such a detailed compliment to, is going to really resonate with her, and it's going to make impact. So those 3 tips, if you just apply them to the next interaction that you have with a beautiful woman, you're really going to see a change in her behavior, a positive change. You're going to see that she's going to start investing in you a lot more because you're making impact. You want to make yourself her main priority very quickly. There's a lot of distractions. Maybe if it's in the daytime, she's got to go to a meeting, or she's meeting a friend. And if it's at nighttime, there's a lot of music. There's, all these iPhones connected to social media, just another distraction. So you have to, the aim is to make yourself her #1 priority very quickly, and that is difficult, and you're not going to become her main priority by just having a lackluster conversation and say nothing that's going to make a strong connection with her. So using these 3 steps, okay, using these 3 principles, these 3 points, tips, advice, whatever you want to call it, for your next interaction, you're going to see a huge difference in where the interaction flows to, her reaction to you, and also you're going to see a lot more results if you continue to use this. I mean, it's a skill you're going to alter it to fit your own, to calibrate with your own personality and your specific mood and the situation. But if you do use these 3 tips consistently throughout your interactions, you'll see a huge difference building up. You'll see a lot more positive reference points. It will build up a lot more results, and that of course is going to fuel your confidence a lot more.